Football, football, football's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming. Football's coming home.
Ah, London. Had a good run there for a while. Now it's all riots, bombings, and people thrown in cages like animals. Oh, and who could forget the killer robots everywhere?
Hello, and welcome to a quick look at Watch Dogs Legion, the third game in the Watch Dogs franchise, set in a dystopian London. I was super lucky to be invited to a capture event a few weeks ago, and a massive thank you to all the development and PR team associated with that, including my demoist Cecile. I've also got an Assassin's Creed Valhalla video which will have dropped at the same time as this. I'll link it in the description and at the end of the video if you are interested. Firstly, I'm aware that there is currently a huge and frankly long overdue shake-up at Ubisoft, so my best wishes to all those affected both inside and outside of the company. You are loved and you are believed. And now to the video. Welcome to London, but perhaps not the London that you know and love. This is a London in fear and rebellion after the events of Zero Day, a city-wide bombing attack that left buildings in rubble and citizens in fear. The worst part? A mysterious group behind it are pinning it on DedSec, the hacker group known for disrupting corporate or shady activities across the globe. Albion, a private military company, has swept into Downing Street and taken over the policing of streets, including locking up all known DedSec members. The CEO of Albion, Nigel Cass, absolutely reeks of Bloom Corp type shenanigans. In fact, it's probably no coincidence that these try-hard Templar wannabes are running the CTOS software that Bloom invented and distributes. The quest for world domination is a very real threat, and it's going to be on DedSec to try and stop it. That's you. But in order to build a resistance, you are going to need an army, so you better get started. Legion is different from the previous Watch Dogs games because, alongside the usual storylines of recruiting more DedSec members to build up your forces, which was part of the story missions usually, Ubisoft claims it will present the player with unique characters for their unique playthrough. Characters will be fully voiced and animated and able to take on main missions and side missions as part of the DedSec movement, and for all intents and purposes you won't even remember they were a random person you met at a coffee shop about 20 hours ago.
Right, take out the boss, take out Zero Day. But why are you here now?
And fair play to them, my experience seems to fit that. I didn't see a single person I'd seen in previous gameplay demos, including the E3 one, which is sad because rip Helen, I will miss you, but we will find another granny, I'm sure.
This had better be fucking good.
Watch Dogs Legion has a very bold claim to live up to, and I suspect in part this was why it was delayed. As I can't see any other areas that need more polish, the game felt as solid as Phil Mitchell's face. The proof of the pudding will, I guess, be in the videos being put out right now by content creators like myself. I know from talking to a couple that we didn't have the same characters, so we will have to see. I'm not super fussed either way if there is a bit of carryover between experiences, because the organic nature of the rest of the recruitment process is absolutely fucking brilliant. Every character you recruit has fully voiced and animated cutscenes, as I said, and the sheer variety of ethnicities and backgrounds represented reflects the true melting pot that is Britain. I was delighted to have two of my recruited characters, a scientist who I believe was Dutch and an activist who I think was from Eastern Europe, having a fully animated and voiced conversation.
You look like trouble. You like to fight for freedom?
Oh, you're DedSec. Perfect. You can help me destroy my life's work.
Say again?
Characters appear to fall into various archetypal roles, which are then further tweaked by adding a biography and defining physical features, traits, etc. But I wouldn't be able to tell you all of them because I honestly have no idea. I did compare notes with another content creator from the capture, and our starting characters were not the same at all, not even the same roles. So let me introduce you to my DedSec members from my capture, and then you have something you can compare against other videos if you so choose. Let's start with Punit. He's a construction worker from London. He can use his uniform to sneak into work sites without being spotted, meaning he very quickly became one of my main choices for missions. Just don't let the Albion guards get too close because they can see through the disguise. He also comes with the ability to summon and hack a cargo drone, which you can ride, and his weaponry consists of an appropriately themed nail gun and wrench. Then we've got Megan, a hacktivist who can steal digital keys and electrocute people in combat using her tech skills. She and Punnett have a temporary stealth mechanic which helps them sneak out of tricky situations, especially because Megan hasn't got a work outfit. Next up is Tracy, a football hooligan whose experience with brawling has led to taking less melee damage. She also comes with a rally cry to get friends to come and assist you in a fight, so she is very much a charging the front door kind of playstyle. But don't worry, because if that playstyle doesn't suit you, you can always go full Bond. Meet Sean, no longer on His Majesty's Secret Service and instead working for DedSec. He comes with his very own spy watch, spy car and a silenced gun. The spy car is not only peak 007 but also self-drives, so it's the perfect choice for little old me and my driving skills in games. Alongside these 4 characters on side, I also did recruiting missions for 2 more people, Bella and Georgiana. Bella is an anarchist, comes with a smoke grenade, studded truncheon, and a bandana for gas immunity, all of which make perfect sense for character. He also has a potty mouth, it's brilliant.
Get away, you fucking stupid thing!
And then Georgiana arrives, and things get a bit weird, but also very Watch Dogs. Georgiana came to us with a spot of bother for her recruitment mission. She'd been forced out of her job, which was researching bees and hive minds and how to control them, and she was scared that Albion or Bloom or somebody bad would get the notes and use them for nefarious purposes, so she said would we destroy them. Once done, she was fully on board with us and ready to go for a spin.
Yes, I'm ready to go bastard hunting with you lot.
Fuck yes.
Georgiana came with an anti-shock suit, because bees, an overcharger shock weapon that worked like a taser, I guess because bees, and then also because bees, she could summon a swarm to attack nearby enemies. Alongside the beekeeper outfit, I was done. I was on the floor. I had no idea she existed, but there she was. Not only in front of me, but as a playable character. And that's what I'm curious about for the final game, is how many Georgianas are going to be out there on the map waiting to be discovered, and what the hell do they want us to do for those missions? Alongside skills, each character has a range of weapons and gadgets that are pulled from a shared pool and appear to be determined by that character's archetypal-ish role within the game. There's typical guns, alongside less typical, lethal, alongside non-lethal, as well as short-term stealth skills for tricky situations, and also the boss boy, the spider drone. I loved this guy when he first appeared in previous games, and he's had a little bit of a rework. Mobility and health does appear to be much higher, and there also appears to be a larger range of movement from the operator, meaning you can go through the entire building without losing signal. As standard, it also comes fitted with hacking tools, a short stealth ability, and the pièce de résistance that we all saw and loved on that E3 gameplay, a shock attack, which is both horrific and entertaining at once. Once you've knocked out the guards, you can also hide the bodies using a conceal skill. This can be done by both the drone and also by the active operative you're playing. It really helps massively with cleanup and stealthing, although it is worth noting the bodies don't vanish. They're still there in a die another day invisible car style setup, so you can trip over them, climb on them, or a guard can stumble upon them accidentally. I did an entire mission using only a spider drone at one point, sitting outside of my car, far away from any guards, and it felt ridiculously satisfying to use it. So, the other features of the game: hacking, combat, and driving. These are like the 3 big things of the Watch Dogs. All of these features felt very similar to the previous 2, and I'm fine with that. I think there's enough stuff going on that keeps this gameplay familiar, and that helps ground the player in the Watch Dogs universe, because it is a bit of a leap over the pond. For those of you who are new to Watch Dogs, the entire premise is that you're Neo before he went in the Matrix. You're a hacker extraordinaire, you're part of this secret club called DedSec. You help stop naughty corporations from stealing all your data and knowing every inch of your life. Your cameras, your phones, anything else that's hackable, including traffic lights and ramps whilst driving, you can use to exploit your environment, whether that's in order to escape a situation or to manipulate data. Sometimes this would involve you completing geometric puzzles by eye or by drone. Sometimes it involved you physically getting into a hard-to-reach place, or logging into someone's personal device, or even hacking a guard's personal camera to move through a space that you couldn't otherwise get through. Sometimes you'd use the drone, sometimes you would go in yourself, at which point you might also have to use combat, which is the same basic mechanics as previously, but it can differ greatly depending on what character you're playing. So for some it's much more of a range situation, whilst others go in arms flailing. Some have combat-related buffs and are unapologetic about smashing a few skulls, but others are using tasers or paintball guns to limit the damage to others, and that makes sense contextually. If you compared Georgiana to Sean, it does make absolute sense that Sean, a trained spy, would handle a shootout or a fistfight more capably. Meanwhile, Georgiana, a scientist that fucks about with insects for a living, uses shock weaponry, and summons bees. And I don't know about you guys, but bees are not the way forward in terms of successful hand-to-hand combat. Now, driving. It's worth noting that there is an in-game car radio, but I have turned it off to avoid issues with YouTube and copyright claims, so I can't comment on the car music for now. But I did enjoy the range of cars that I was seeing on the roads, which were much more suitable to Britain than the giant cars of the past two games, and it was very satisfying and a little bit silly to race around London in a Mini Cooper. It's also a bit weird because usually it's an American setting if it's an open world driving game like GTA, but Legion has places I don't just know but have also visited. And the meshing of modern day London with the futuristic technology vibe is done really well. The more you look at the scene, the more of London you notice. It feels like London. The council hasn't emptied the bins. They can't move for vans. There's a weird windy little side alley with a half abandoned construction barrier. There's roadworks bloody everywhere. There's the Underground, the London Eye, all the bridges over the Thames, ridiculous traffic light junctions, parks, coffee shops, street art, even bunches of flowers laid at the site of a tragedy. It's really well done, and it felt very distinct and different in environment to the previous two. I can't wait to get my hands on it at launch, and we most definitely will be streaming it over on Twitch and building our very own resistance. I hope you liked this quick look at Watch Dogs Legion. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you liked, you've got any questions, I'll try and answer them. A huge thank you to my patrons for helping support this video and the Assassin's Creed Valhalla one, which is also now up. You got a 2-for-1 special this time round, because they both came out at the same time. If you'd like to find out more about Watch Dogs Legion, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Patreon, or anything else, you can find all the links in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, have a good one, and I'll see you soon.